It is 7:22. We are back in open session. Okay. Do we have any motions from our closed session? Let's go one by one, I guess. Let's go with 5A. The board will discuss the recommended personnel report. Yes, Ms. Carrillo?
I'd like to move to approve the discussed recommended personnel report.
I have a motion by Ms. Carrillo. Can I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to go with Mr. Moreno. He's kind of quick right there. Mr. Moreno, we have a second from Mr. Moreno. Do we have any discussion by the board members? There being no discussion, can I please call for the vote? All those in favor? We have a unanimous decision. The motion carries. Item number 5B. The board will discuss the superintendent's recommendation for the appointment of a head volleyball women's coordinator and subject to future reassigned by the superintendent, TGC 551.074. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve Ms. Castro as the volleyball coach and coordinator. Women's coordinator.
We have a motion by Mr. Juan Mancha. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'm going to give that one to Zeke. I have a second by Mr. Zeke Mendoza. Could I please call for discussion by the board?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mancha.
just a quick comment on Coach Castro. She's a wonderful coach. She's worked real hard with our soccer girls. She's been amazing with them, and I think she's going to do a wonderful job with our volleyball. I mean, she's taken our girls 3 years in a row undefeated in soccer. So I'm looking forward to seeing her do a fantastic job with our volleyball. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mancha. And I also have only heard great things about Ms. Castro. Any further discussion by the board? There being no further discussion, can I please call for the vote? All those in favor? The ayes have it. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Ms. Castro. Item number 5C.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Moreno.
I'd like to make a motion that the board itself conduct a non-renewal hearing on the 15th of June 2017 or on June 22nd, 2017 or other dates if agreed to by the parties.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Moreno. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Juan Mancha. Do I have any discussion by the board? There being no discussion of the board, may I please call for the vote? All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously.
Members of the board, just so that we're clear, the hearing is set for the 15th, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
And if amenable and agreeable between the parties, it'll be on the 22nd, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tovar, for clarification. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moreno, for your motion. Okay, I think now we have to convene and close. Yeah. Okay. So do we go and convene? Okay, so we have to do an open session. Okay, so no, we're not going to convene. Okay, so then item number 7, the board will conduct a budget workshop session with the superintendent, and staff for the 2017-2018 budget. Ms. Tudyk or Mr. Hernandez? Who gets to do it? I saw her get up, so I was like.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, what we're doing this evening is bringing back information that on a couple of questions that the board had from the last budget work session. And it's a separate memo that was placed with your notebook. And on the memo, it's dated June 6, 2017, regarding follow-up last budget work session. And 2 particular questions that we had or information to provide to the board was regarding the attendance. We did go back and we took the daily enrollment number of every school day for each of the 3 years, got the average of that, and then compared it so that we were comparing apples to apples of our average daily attendance, the ADA, divided by the average daily enrollment of the school district, and that's how you compute what your attendance is. And in each of the 3 years, it did still come out to 90.8%. So again, that's our average attendance and percentage-wise. We verified that. Now it'll vary. You get a higher percentage in elementary, of course, and then as you get to middle schools and high schools, it tends to start decreasing. But overall, the average attendance was 90.8%.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Moreno.
So that, Mr. Hernandez, would you be able to kind of give me a figure in terms of that missing percentage, how much monies that would actually be in real figures, more or less? What, 9%, 9.2% times what, one?
So it's close to like, if we hit 100%, which
Yeah,
school
which is
district,
ideal.
it's about $7 million.
$7 million. Okay, thank you.
And that's really a rough ballpark, but I mean, that's the message that we try to get across to the students. First, it's important for instruction, but second, it really has an impact on our funding. The second item that was requested for further clarification was one of the recommendations or one of the proposals was an extra teaching unit to serve as the Jewel Wetzel STEM PE program. And in the memo, there's a brief paragraph in there in looking at that information. Currently, we have a teacher that's assigned from Tejeda that is PE certification, and she is the art teacher there at Tejeda. What we do is she'll go to the early college high school in the morning, and then in the afternoon reports back to Tejeda to teach the art courses. And in doing so, that's where we have the impact, because art is one of the graduation requirements. So we're suffering there in trying to meet that requirement for our students. The second, looking at the early college high school PE equivalent, and that's with the, with the Tejeda teacher. Now, to provide the PE at the Witzel Center, we take one coach from each high school, and we make an adjustment so that the way they can service 2 class periods for an equivalent of 0.25 FTEs. And again, we're splitting up that time between the 2 high schools. So again, our proposal is to try to better serve our students with just one teacher who will be servicing both the Jewel Wetzel and the STEM PE teacher. And the class schedule, again, is behind the memo to give you more details as to how it's broken out with the different time periods that these teachers will service both there at Hack, Witzel, and the early college high school. Yes.
So just an update, the coaches, the teachers that we bring from McCollum, we bring one from McCollum and one from Harlandale to go support the Witzel Center. We had to take 2 periods from their regular schedule because of travel time to get to the school, have the class, and then get back. And then what we also did at the Witzel Center is we combined everybody because we could only get a teacher for 1 period over there. So they're not servicing 2 periods, we're taking 2 periods away from their home school.
Mr. Hernandez, I just got a question. Didn't we used to have a PE coach by itself there at the Witzel Center before?
We did. She was actually, she did the Witzel, and then she also did, she helped with Special Olympics. But because the program has grown so much, and we now have the partners in PE, Mr. McGinnis, who does that, travels to every single secondary school now. Plus, Witzel was by itself, and now we have all our transitional kids housed at the Witzel Center now. So that added more kids there.
Mr. Chair, the other thing that I want to add is, of course, with programs and our STEM Early College High School, we've also grown. So again, that's also put some additional classes and to meet the kids' requirements that's put us in the situation that we're in today.
Mr. Hernandez, is that going to affect Harlandale and McCollum by moving those 2 coaches?
If we don't get the additional coach, they will continue to have to pull somebody off McCollum and Harlandale. If we get the additional person, then those teachers that we pulled stay on their home campuses and they pick up classes at Harlandale or McCollum.
Ms. Gallegos,
Yes, sir.
no question. I'm just asking Mr. Mancha. At the Witzel, are they just PE coaches or are they specialized in certain things? Because, of course, some of those students that are there are severely handicapped.
The way that we're servicing them right now, they're just teachers from each campus. So what happens is, Mr. McGinnis and some of the staff there that is specialized in PE work with that teacher to ensure that they're meeting the needs of the kids.
Thank you.
Please proceed, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we wanted to make sure to get back that information to you as a follow-up to the budget work session. Basically, we have the information this evening. We can certainly recap the items that we covered from the last work session, starting with the teacher allotments or the budgeted items, which have the greatest impact on the district's budget. One of the things that in discussion with the superintendent was to see if any of these items, if the board at the end of the evening is comfortable with some of the recommendations being made, especially on personnel side, that the district could move forward to try to fill those positions and take advantage at least early on before the staffing gets absorbed by other school districts. So I can certainly go through the budget items again briefly, maybe not as much detail as we did the last meeting, but certainly it's your call as to how you want me to proceed.
Okay, so real quick, the slides that were being presented today are the exact same ones from the last board meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's the exact same thing we went over with. Just a question now is, I just want to make sure I understood what you just said. You just asked us if we wanted to adopt some of the budget?
Mr. Chair, good question. And again, my conversation with cabinet is, again, one of the things that we'd like to again, put on the table for our board is to consider the idea of allowing us to move forward with some of these recommended staff adjustments from the presentation, so it allow us to hire the best and possibly hire teachers with, again, with experience. And again, the longer we wait to advertise and to interview for these positions, then the more likely that we're to hire people that maybe not have the type of experience that we prefer or looking for. But again, it would just help us to get ahead and be able to staff and be 100% staffed before we get to the point where July comes into play, and then we're maybe hiring what other people choose not to hire, and we're left with that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I guess with that, Mr. Hernandez, so would this be considered a part of the next fiscal year, or are we just amending our current budget? How would that kind of correlate with each other?
It would be part of the next fiscal year. The individuals wouldn't start until after July 1st.
All right. We wouldn't have to amend anything. We would just have to adopt and approve the positions that we're creating.
Yes, sir.
And the other positions that we're dissolving.
Yes, sir. And it's because it's not an action item, the budget work session, but it gives the superintendent the ability to go ahead and start moving forward. So that way, when the actual budget is adopted on June 27th, then that's when at least we have individuals lined up that would be able to come in and fill in the vacancies.
So
otherwise, yes, sir.
I'm sorry. So then with these positions, we would be advertising them, but they couldn't sign a contract until it's approved with the next budget?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I think, Mr. Moreno, correct me, I think I understand Mr. Moreno's question again. These individuals would be offered employment now, would be brought forward to the board, would be hired with the idea that they'll be, their contract is for the 17-18 school year. It's not part of this fiscal budget that it ends at the end of June. It would be for the new budget that we adopt July 1st. And of course, these people will not come on staff, pending on their job duties and responsibilities, till sometime in August for the new school year.
So then just as long as we approve them, then that's something that we're going to approve now, and then that it wouldn't be creating any type of issue where we can't come back and say we're going to not go forward with approving these positions, because I don't want to leave anyone in a lurch and say they have a job, and then all of a sudden we're saying, oh, we're going to backtrack and we're not going to actually have these positions available. So that's what I kind of want to get at.
Mr. Chair, I think Mr. Moreno, it would be where we would get pretty much the blessing of the board to be able to move forward. And once we offer a job and a contract and we bring these individuals up for our board to hire because they're professional people, then we would be obligated to give them a contract for the 17-18 school year. Again, Mr. Hernandez could present some of the items where we made some adjustments to help absorb some of these and some of the savings that we presented last time that we have here again that we can present, plus realign and better staff ourselves according to our needs. So again, yes, we're asking for the board to give us pretty much the okay for us to move forward and post and interview and bring forward these recommendations for the 17-18 school year.
So, I want to see specifically what we're approving today.
Yes, sir. We can go through each one.
We don't have to go through each one, or you're asking us to approve this whole packet then?
No, sir. No, just these.
Just okay.
The items that we have presented, it would cover the teacher allotments, the campus continued programs, other personnel realignments. That's what we're asking the board to give us basically an okay to move forward on those and allow us to start interviewing and advertising the positions. But at this point, it's only these first three items.
Mr. Chair, the salary and wages, the last three items on this particular PowerPoint presentation you have up there, we're talking about the first three bullets: teacher allotments, campus continued programs and positions, and other personnel realignments that we presented to the board. The salary and wages increases and the health insurance contribution will be when the full 17-18 budget is again approved, and that has to be board approved.
Okay.
This is just for us to move forward. And
I feel a little better now.
And that's correct, Mr. Mancha. But you know what? Again, these are good questions, and I'd rather be upfront and honest about it and answer any questions that we have, because we want clear direction and understanding from everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
So my question to the full board would be, I mean, I'm ready to approve, ready to vote, but do y'all have any questions? Okay, so let's take a vote then. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, I just wanted to add, just so that you could feel good about the blessing that we're looking for, that we keep referring to is, for example, one of the things that we had presented at our last budget work session was that we were non-compliant with our fine arts. And so in order to become compliant, we wanted to go look for more mariachi teachers. And so that, like, you know, Mr. Quesada. And so what happens is, by giving us, you know, your will to do so, what that means is we can now start and start go looking for them, because we can expect that the board would continue with that, with the feeling to go ahead and fill these positions, the teacher allotments, as well as the realignments and the things that we're doing to save money.
Good point, Ms. Tudyk.
And Mr. Chair, and the way Ms. Tudyk explained it, so this isn't an action item where you would take a vote. It's just giving the blessing so we can move forward, because the official vote to approve the positions will be when we present it at the next budget meeting, or the budget hearing, which is going to be on the 27th.
So then,
So
I
really,
guess-
there's no action, just blessing by
so
by
as
the board.
board president, I'd like to give you my blessing. Does anybody else want to give him his blessing?
Mr. Chair. No, I don't, is it a motion? So you said just more so of just, you said not to make a motion because we can't approve it yet. But I think y'all make a very valid point in just trying to find the best candidates that are suitable for these positions and not scraping at the bottom of the barrel at the end of the month.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
move to give direction
Okay,
to
thank you. I feel
staff
better about that.
and the recommendation as presented.
I second.
We have a motion to move to.
No, we don't need to vote.
Okay.
We're giving them direction.
Yeah.
Like a committee meeting, okay.
But Mr. Hernandez, I did want to bring something else up while we're talking about the budget. Okay. At our last budget workshop or whatever, one of the things we look at is bringing, and it's hard because there's just so much information, but like bringing everyone up to par. So you have the angles, and you say, okay, we have a bus driver, and they're at here, but to get them to market, let's give them a $500 raise, but only one time, so that when we do give these small increment raises, they're on. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's what when Catherine went over, that's what they call the adjustment part. Because there are some people who are where they need to be regarding the pay range,
Sure.
and there's some, as you're saying, below, and so TASB incrementally are recommending, okay, these individuals below, give them maybe a higher percentage, but they're still below where they need to be as compared to the others that are employed here at the district.
Sure. Okay, so it's been brought to my attention, and I looked over and it wasn't presented. So can we please make sure we present something on the chief's, Mr. Ramirez's salary?
Sure.
So make sure it's all, or whatever it is. If it's not, if it's not. If it is, it is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I can get that presented to the full board. Does anybody else have another position or something that they
No,
think?
Mr. Chair, I know I had spoken to Mr. Hernandez earlier, but I think there's a high likelihood that we would have TASB come back.
Oh, absolutely, sir.
And then that will kind of close some of the questions that we have, specifically that I directed towards him. But I know that, with the adjustments, the questions that I had, and I'll probably discuss with you further, I think we'll get that information as well from TASB.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And do you know what meeting that would be? Would that be on the 19th?
On the 27th?
So they'll come back the 27th?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The budget hearing.
Okay, so Mr. Hernandez, with that request, that would come from TASB then, right?
Yes, sir. And
even better.
but through staff, we'll work with them to make sure
Okay.
that point is addressed when we do the presentation.
Even better.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Can you clarify what it was that you asked him right now?
Oh, I wanted to make sure that the salaries are again, there's like a trend. Market value, equal fair trends and salaries and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that we had a presentation with the chief's salary because that was not presented to us. Please, Chief Ramirez. Did you want to?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I also welcome any board member that would like to schedule a meeting with staff to discuss any specific or questions that you may have. You're more than welcome to do so. Do not feel like you have to wait till the 27th. But in the 27th board meeting, we will have TASB come back again to share with the board again, because again, we have those last two bullets that we need to take care of, and that's the salary and wages increases that are being, again, presented to our board and recommended by TASB. And then, of course, the insurance, health insurance contribution. Again, I do want to take the opportunity to commend our board for exercising the practice that we did last year and going out and hiring TASB the last year and a half, 2 years to be able to take all of the positions in Harnell ISD and make them compatible, fair market, paying jobs in our district. And as they presented to us here recently in the last budget workshop, where we have actually seen, again, our pay scale compared to the school districts in the competitive fair market, where now we're comparable to everybody else, and we don't have those different dips here and there like we did in the past. So again, thank you.
You know what, Rick? Was Mr. Marigal's salary on there also?
Not that I recall, sir.
Can we
can check with.
Can we add that on there too?
Sure, sure.
Let's add that on there so we can get it directly from TASB. Where we're at, where we're supposed to be. If we're above, we're behind. So we have Mr. Marigal, we have Mr. Ramirez. Again, does anybody? And what I would encourage also, if it does come to mind, can you please just contact Richard, please, so that we can make sure we get everything presented to the full board.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that the end of that one?
Yes.
Okay, so we have item number 8, adjourn. Do we have a
Move
motion?
to adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr.
Second.
Mantra, I have a second by Ms. Carrillo. Any discussion? If no discussion, can I call for the vote? Unanimous decision. Thank you, guys. Meeting's adjourned at 7:46.